Republicans underestimate Tim Walz, warns fellow Minnesotan who played the Gov in debate prep. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who shrugged off debate prep, should not underestimate Minnesota Gov. Tim Walz ahead of Tuesday night's face-off, a fellow North Star State ex-lawmaker warns. And he should know, he had to become Walz when he played the Gov in GOP gubernatorial debate practice. Tuesday night is the first and likely only time the vice presidential hopefuls will wrangle before the election. Walz, 60, was key in framing the Democratic narrative around Donald Trump and Vance as weird, while Vance, 40, has attacked Kamala Harris' running mate on stolen valor claims. Marty Seifert, former Minnesota House Minority Leader and 2010 and 2014 gubernatorial candidate, has a unique perspective on Walz's skills. He stood in for the Democrat in debate prep for his unsuccessful Republican challenger, Scott Jensen, 2 years ago. In a phone call with the Post, he predicted Walz is going to appeal to the average voter Tuesday night, and Vance will lose if he sticks with canned talking points. That might be just what the Republican plans to do, though. Vance has publicly brushed off debate prep, as the Post reported last week. "We have well-developed views on public policy, so we don't have to prepare that much," he said. Seifert urged Vance to stay away from personal attacks and focus on substance and, most important, the average American. He needs to talk about middle America, the mainstream, not the extreme, he advised. Vance has an opportunity if he knows how to use it. One example, Minnesota had the largest surplus in state history, and under Walz's leadership it was spent, and taxes were raised. Much of the state's $17.5 billion surplus in 2023 was used for one-time funding of new and existing programs, including child tax credits, tax rebates and exemptions, free college tuition, and green energy. That's not where the average person is. If you had a surplus, I think you'd want moderation, Seifert noted. Seifert thinks Walz's handling of the George Floyd unrest in the Twin Cities is another weak point Vance could exploit, as the governor has been blamed for a delayed response to the rioting, something the Hillbilly Elegy author has pointed out before. Seifert joked he's probably the only guy in any state that has played Tim Walz, and he's not ashamed of it. To convincingly play a character, you better study and appreciate them, and I certainly tried to do my part, he said. The Republican said he respects Walz and has an amicable relationship with the former teacher. He earned his way to where he is, worked hard and got himself up there, and got a few breaks by being in the right place at the right time, Seifert added. "I've studied Tim Walz for years," the former legislator said, noting some Minnesota Republicans couldn't get past their dislike of Walz to see his talents. "I saw him at a parade when he unseated a 12-year congressman. He had 100 people walking with him, and he had a bullhorn talking about how we need to get out of the Iraq War," Seifert remembered. "I just thought, this guy is going to win, and I watched him ever since dispensing Republican after Republican." Seifert's warnings echo those of fellow Minnesota Republicans the Post spoke to when Harris made Walz her running mate. "He's a good speaker, good debater. I wouldn't take him lightly, that's for sure," Cal Brink, a retired Minnesota businessman, said in early August. "Bring some popcorn to the debate with J.D. Vance." Jen DeJournette, president of Ballot Box Strategies in Minnesota, said then, predicting the vice presidential debate would be much more interesting than the Trump-Harris matchup. Walz, who could boast a National Rifle Association endorsement as a congressman, reflected the more moderate stance of his southern Minnesota district while in Congress, Seifert said. In comparison, Walz's time governing the state has been more left with a few spots of moderation. Seifert, whose legislative district was near Walz's congressional district, said there's a joke in southern Minnesota. The only thing moderate about Walz is his haircut. The former lawmaker thinks highlighting social issues is another losing debate strategy and emphasized Vance's focus should be on the economy and the border. For the average American, Seifert reiterated, at the end of the day, their discretionary disposable income is how they judge the economy. Vance's counterpoint to Walz's appeal to middle America should be simple, Seifert said. It costs too much to live, the border is out of control, and we can do better, we have a plan. The 538 polling average gives Vance a net unfavorability rating of plus 11.3, compared with a plus 3.7 net favorable for Walz.